I am finally going to post this video. I'm putting it out there. This is like the fourth one that I've made, and I either didn't like something, I couldn't edit it the right way, or I just chickened out and deleted the video. But I'm finally gonna post this. I guess I want to just preface with 4 things. One, if this video is absolutely garbage, which it probably will be, I'm so sorry. I love YouTube, but I think I kind of stink at it. 2, if I'm looking at the screen and not the camera, sorry. And that light back there is a light that's behind my camera, but it's shining directly at my face. So if my eyes get a little squinty, my bad. Again, not so good at this whole YouTube thing. Thirdly, I just want to say that this video is not for people to feel sorry for me. It's not for you to listen to and then be like, oh, Jasmine's life is so sad. I understand, and I know that I'm very, very blessed. I have a wonderful home and a wonderful husband, and I wake up in a warm bed every morning, and I have food in my belly, and I have more things than that I actually need, that have been given to me or that I have been able to purchase for myself. And I'm not saying that my life is terrible, is what I'm trying to get at, and I don't want you guys to watch this video and think that I'm trying to make you feel bad for me or for you to feel bad for me. And then fourthly, thank you for watching the video, and for visiting our blog and our website. We are very excited about it, and I know it has been a very long time since we posted anything, like 2 weeks, but it's because I've been trying to make this video and post it, but I get so scared and so nervous, and then I delete it, and then I have to re-record it. So I have my notebook here, and if I'm looking down a lot, it's because I'm looking at my notebook because I want to make sure that I'm staying on topic and I'm not just rambling, which is very easy for me to do. So I guess we'll just go ahead and get right into it. This video is about mine and my husband's, that beautiful man up there, our struggles to have a baby. We have been trying for 7, almost 8 months now, and I know that that is not a long time, and that there are people who have been trying a lot longer than me. I have been in contact with people who have been trying for years, and I think that they would agree that it doesn't matter the span of time, it still hurts. The longer you go through it, it probably hurts a lot more. But anyways, I say all that to say I know that hasn't been a long time, and that's probably the first time you're gonna roll your eyes in this video because it hasn't been a long time, and I get that. I totally understand that. And that's part of the confusion with all of this. I have some reproductive complications, but then also when we were going through family planning, our doctor said, you know, this is kind of normal for people my age for it to take about a year before they actually become pregnant. So the confusing piece is we don't know exactly what it is. Could it be that year gap that people my age face? Maybe. Could it be my reproductive system? Maybe. But it's still been a struggle nonetheless. I struggle a lot more, I think, than my husband. I can't really speak for him. He expresses his emotions very differently than I do. So I'm only going to talk about myself in this video, but I have struggled a lot with this. The longer that it takes, the more pain that I feel with this whole entire process. And it just kind of makes me go through like a cycle of being optimistic. I track everything. I have a app that tracks my cycle and like the best days for it to possibly happen, the days that it's worse for me to happen. It helps me track my symptoms and all this other stuff because I really wanted to plan this. Whenever we decided that we wanted to have a baby and that we were going to start trying, I instantly was like, okay, I need to download something. I need to keep track of everything. I need to know when all of this is supposed to be happening, the best timetable, because I'm a planner, and I like to say it's going to start here, and then in 9 months, we're going to have a beautiful baby. Well, we are almost 8 months from the starting point and no baby. So it's not even like it's happened along this journey. It hasn't happened at all. And that's been really difficult. I have become obsessed with the idea of us having a baby and tracking it and best practices. We went through family planning, and our doctor was basically telling us, you know, it may take a while, but these are the best things for you to do. I have bought so many ovulation tests, it's not funny. I have taken so many pregnancy tests, it's not funny, because I can magically convince myself that the symptoms that I'm feeling have nothing to do with my cycle, but everything to do with me being pregnant. I've taken, it's an embarrassing amount of pregnancy tests that I have taken. And it only just creates like a cycle of me being mean to myself, because I know that it's going to be negative, but I still take it anyways. So it's this constant state of being optimistic, confused when it doesn't happen, and then unhappy, and sometimes even angry, which is usually that like anger and hurt usually comes whenever I see other people announcing their pregnancies. There was a time where I couldn't even get on Facebook because another person that I knew was pregnant, and I found myself wanting to steal that blessing from them and making any rational reason in my head for them not to deserve that miracle and that blessing of a baby. And that is not okay. It's not healthy. So I had to take some time away from being on Facebook consistently, and praying over their happiness, because I don't know everyone that well on my Facebook. I have 300 and some friends, people that I've met in college, people who went to high school a few counties away from my high school. There's no way I can know them all personally enough to know maybe they've been struggling to have a baby for a while, or maybe they are married and this was the thing that they prayed the most for. I have no idea. So I had to kind of take a step back, but every time I kind of get this feeling in my stomach of, oh, them, but not me. And that's been really, really difficult. And really the only times that I've been able to be okay with all of this is when I really am studying and I'm in relation with God and with Jesus. When I'm praying, when I'm reading the Bible, when I'm doing studies, when I'm making blog posts, is kind of when I can find the most contentment. Around the time that we started trying was when I was writing for Before the Dawn Ministries, and it was kind of forcing me to be in the Word because I had to be able to write something for the following week. So there was a period in time when I didn't want to, because I felt like my prayers weren't being answered or weren't being heard. So it really deterred me from praying and from reading, which is really difficult to admit, but it's honest. I didn't want to spend time with God because I couldn't understand why he was telling me no, or why it hasn't happened yet, and what he was prolonging all of this for. But I had to, so that I could get something onto the blog for Before the Dawn. And when I would feel so accomplished with my post. I would spend a lot of time in prayer while I was writing the post, and then I would just feel very optimistic, like, okay, God is with me. He's telling me, just give it some time and it'll happen. But then it's the days when I'm not in the Word, or I shorten my morning prayers to something really simple because I'm running late, or I didn't read, which is one of my biggest faults. I don't like to read. I am not a pleasure reader, so I have a hard time of making it a priority to read, which I want to write about one day, so I don't want to get in that too much. But it's a struggle for me. So the days that I wasn't doing it were the days that I was feeling the worst. And they would also coincide with the days where I saw something crazy on Facebook that made me upset, or I took a pregnancy test and it was negative, or I started my cycle. Something to make me feel very broken. But I kind of learned that, you know, when I'm in the Word, I feel fine. When I'm talking to my mentor at church, or when I meet one-on-one with our pastor, they give me a lot of biblical advice for how to approach the situation from a biblical standpoint, but then also how to properly pray for things like this and how to prepare myself for things. And it would kind of start the cycle of optimism all over again. And I just want to say that that feeling is not coincidental. It's not a coincidence that whenever I'm spending time in the Word and that I'm praying and I'm constantly reminding myself of God's presence, it's not coincidental that that is when I feel the best. I think that is just an absolute testament to God's goodness and His love and His heart for us, that He is supposed to be a part of our daily lives, and this is the result of how life can feel whenever we are constantly in communion with Him, and we are reading His Word, and we're studying His Word, and we're sharing His Word, and we're praying over things, and we're giving Him glory and worshiping Him, and we're just constantly reminding ourselves of His power over our lives. That is when things start to feel so much better, and that's how it's meant to be. We are kind of our own worst enemies whenever we don't allow that to happen, because then we automatically want to point the finger at God and say, you are not giving me this. You are making me feel this way. I am hurt with you and I'm angry with you because I'm not getting what I want. And you feel stupid whenever you are in communion, whenever you're praying over things. Like I said, it's a major slap in the face every time that I am in the Word and He places it on my heart. You know, I have a plan for you. You don't understand it, but it's there and it's going to happen. And then I feel like an idiot because I'm doubting my God. I'm doubting the creator of this earth, the creator of my life, who formed me intricately and delicately inside my mother's womb, who knows me from start to finish, even though I have no idea what the next 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 plus years of my life are going to look like. He does. And He knows my faults and still loves me. He knows my sins and still loves me. He takes someone who is otherwise very ordinary and messy and crazy and worrisome and a jumble of just things that you shouldn't be, and loves them anyways, and sets them to a path of hopefully to live righteously and to follow His commands, because there's something so sweet about life whenever you're able to do that. And that joy, that true authentic joy that most of us don't allow ourselves to feel because we get so caught up in our own heads and our own wants and our own needs, and we stop that. We block that flow of God's grace and love reminding you of pure joy in your life at this moment, because we want something that He hasn't given to us yet. We as humans have this idea of instant gratification, where I want something and I want it right now. And this is very much my thing. I'm an impatient person anyways. One of the things that I'm constantly in prayer about that God works on in me is my patience. I am somebody who loves instant gratification because I love things fast paced. I love planning things, and my day is usually very full, so if I can make things go faster so I can get on to the other things, that's great for me. And that instant gratification has just kind of transferred into everything. When I set my mind to something, I want it to happen, and I want it to happen how I plan it to happen and when I want it to happen, which this process has been the biggest slap in the face when it comes to things like that, because I can't control it. I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing. We went to family planning. She gave us tips on things to do. I do them. I mean, basically, I'm doing everything that I think is right, and it's still not happening for me. So in one of the Bible studies that I went through, it talked about this concept, and I call it a concept because it's a concept that a lot of us can't grasp, but this concept of God's will and God's timing. And I struggle with my own timing and anyone else's timing that's not related to mine. So naturally, I have a hard time with grasping that his timing is the first and foremost and the only timing that really matters. What I want has to be subsequent to his will and his timing, because I have no way to will the world. People are not designed to be that way, and if we were, the world would be a lot crazier than it is right now. And one of the verses that was constantly repeated in this study was the Ecclesiastes 3, really 1 through 15, because it's talking about God's will and God's timing. I don't want to read the entire thing because it is rather long, but it basically talks about there is a time for everything. There is a time for certain seasons. There's a time for people to die and for people to be born. There's a time for each different type of plant and when it will harvest. There's a time to cry and an appropriate time to laugh, all of these other things. But the part that I pray over the most is verses 11 through 15. And it says, yet God has made everything beautiful for its time. He has planted eternity in the human heart, but even so, people cannot see the whole scope of God's work from beginning to end. That's my favorite part. So I conclude there is nothing better than to be happy and enjoy ourselves as long as we can. And people should eat and drink and enjoy the fruits of their labor, for these are the gifts from God. And I know that whatever God does is final. Nothing can be added to it or taken from it. Another really good part. What is happening now has happened before, and what will happen in the future has also happened before, because God makes the same things happen over and over and over again. And I've prayed a lot over this verse to help me to kind of be my daily reminder that it is his time and he has a perfect time for everything, even though it seems so hidden. And it is confusing to want something and not even have a timetable. You know, if somebody told you, I have to tell you something, and I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is right now, but I'll give you a little hint to hold you over so you're not freaking out. I'm going to tell you that it's good, it's something good, it's not something that you need to think about all day long, and then when you get this news, it's going to be great. That little bit of, I'm not going to tell you right now, but it's good, that hint that this is good, and you don't need to worry about it, is what lacks from this entire process, because I don't know if it's good. I don't even really know what's causing it. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know if we should start thinking about alternatives to starting a family or having a family. I don't believe that God is calling us to an adoption at this point, but I don't know, and I wish that he would just tell me, stop freaking out about this whole natural having a baby process, because my hope for you is for you to have a family through adoption. If he would tell me that, or if that was revealed to me, I would probably feel a lot better, but it isn't, and that is what makes it really difficult, because it is this realm of unknown that we as people who love instant gratification don't know how to handle. So this is a reminder, that verse is a reminder to me that I have to surrender my heart, my fears, my worries about this entire process over to God, because it is his timing, and when it happens, it's going to be the perfect timing, which is hard, but it's a good way for me to start my day. The NLT Study Bible that I use is this one right here, and in the study portion of it, it said, it quoted, and I really like this quote to devote time to Jesus and to let him strengthen, encourage, and revive you when you feel like giving up and shutting down. Pray and keep listening for his voice and guidance. His timing and his will are the most important. Our lives have to align with that. And again, very difficult, but very important and very true. And another verse that has given me a lot of strength and courage, ironically very much, is about strength. It is 2 Corinthians 12:9. My grace is sufficient for you. But in the NLT translation, that study Bible, it translates the verse like this: my grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness. So now I am glad to boast about my weakness so that the power of Christ can work through me. And I talked about how I feel the most content and the less worrisome whenever I am in the Word or whenever I am praying. And I think it's because I am the most reminded of God's grace. And being aware of the power of God's love and grace for us, I think is important for no matter what you're going through. I realize that I am going through a struggle that only half of the population can go through the same way that I'm going through, because I am a woman. Like I said, my husband deals with this and struggles with this in a very different way than I do. But I also know that not everybody is at this point in their life. Sometimes pregnancy comes really easy for some people. So maybe there's an even smaller portion of people who are watching this right now that this video actually connects with. But I think that this is applicable to any struggle that you have going on. I think that both of those verses, but the Corinthians verse is even more applicable to any situation that you are going through, because it reminds you that God's grace is our strength. We don't have to be scared or worried or nervous or feel bad about being weak, because we have strength through Christ. And it's even more important to understand that grace is freely given to us. There's nothing that we have to do, and thank God that there isn't anything that we have to do to earn that grace, because many of us probably wouldn't have it. I for certain would not, especially going through this process. I mean, I didn't even want to have time with God because I was so upset and hurt, but still that grace was given to me, and that grace, whether I knew it or not, was the entire reason why I could wake up every single day and get on Facebook and comment, "I am happy for you," and even remotely mean it. It is the only reason why I'm able to pick myself up off the floor after I'm crying because I took another pregnancy test and it was negative. It is the only reason that I'm able to make this video and try to encourage myself and you guys, because I have a fear that it's not going to work out, that even though I'm 24 years from now, I'm still not going to have a child, and I'm scared that that is God's will for me. But I'm able to have enough courage, hopefully, if I post this video, and enough strength to push through it and continue to do God's work, because He loves me. And He does have a plan for me, and His grace for me is bigger and better than any plan that I can think of. And whether He's saying not now, or He's saying no, or He's saying it's an alternative option, I have to trust in that and continue to power through. And like I said, continue to do God's work. I think one of the most beautiful things that when I'm thinking about it, when I'm talking with you guys, not when I'm going through the moment, but when I reflect back on every time that I've been hurt, every time I cried on the floor in my bathroom, every time I wanted to quit with Before the Dawn, and even with this, I haven't put anything up in a while because I'm having a hard time wanting to put this out into the universe, but I continue to do so because He's putting it on my heart to do so. And maybe it's to strengthen me to not worry so much about what I don't know that He has planned for me, or maybe it's because And probably it's because this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what he's putting on my heart to do, so I'm doing it. And that these struggles, this trial, these tribulations, these things that we go through are molding us to continue to be his warriors, to continue to share the gospel and the good news and the joy and pure love that is found in Jesus Christ. And sometimes that's hard for us to swallow, that we have to go through hard things so that God can be glorified. But if I can be the vessel to do something like that, no matter what I have to go through, I want to do that. He's placing it on my heart. He tells us to go out to and be witnesses for him. And if this is my way to do that, then I absolutely want to answer that call. So I know that this video was kind of rambly, and again, I suck at this. I hope to get better one day because I want to continue to do these, but they might always be this awful. I don't know. But anyways, I hope that this video encourages you. It's certainly going to be something I'm going to have to remind myself to read over all of the time, to get over this whole instant gratification and this almost like power hunger to be able to control all plans and time in our life, but then also just to constantly be reminded of God's love and grace and how that is going to guide my life no matter what his plan is for me. I hope that you guys have an amazing week. Feel free to leave us some comments. Let us know what we can pray for you over. What is something that you're struggling with that you feel like this could be applicable to you? And go through this process of praying over those 2 verses in the morning. I also really like to take notes about how those verses can impact my life whenever I'm feeling those ways. So whenever I have one of my sad moments, whenever I see something on Facebook that makes me upset, I go over these verses. They're just saved in a note on my phone. And then I think about how those verses can impact the way that I feel in that moment. Usually it's a lot of just making me feel stupid and sad and hurt that I am so doubtful of God's plan, but sometimes we need that. But yeah, leave us a comment. I want to stay subscribed to this YouTube channel, but if you don't, that's okay too. Still come back to the website. We hope to have more things up soon. I'm really, really sorry that this took so long to post. I'm going to try to get better. I've got to get over my fear of being scared to share very personal things about myself. And to my family and my friends that are watching who feel like you're left in the dark, I'm really sorry. I'm having a hard time opening up about this without crying, because it is a different part of me. I get really nervous to let people see that I'm not strong, or that I have doubts that mess with my relationship with God. I don't know why. I guess I want to paint a picture that's always beautiful, but life is not always beautiful. We are not always beautiful human beings. But I struggle with it. There have been times where, even recently, where to avoid talking about this, I'll tell people we're not even trying to have a baby. I don't know why I do that, but I can feel the lump forming in my throat, that I'm going to start getting upset about it. So then I just say, oh, but we're not even trying to have a baby. Or, I'm doing fine, I'm okay. Not even very many people know that we've even been trying to have a baby because of this. It started as like, well, we want this, it's personal, but a lot of people around me know that we want to have children and how much it means to me. So I just kind of brush it off. And I found myself lying to people and telling them we're not even trying, and just totally dismiss the conversation because I'm scared to be upset. I'm scared to get somebody's opinion other than a handful of people. I'm scared that they're gonna say me too, and we've been trying for this long and it seems like we need to give up. I don't know. Anyways, I guess embrace your struggles, embrace what they mean to you, at this moment in your life, because it is working towards something. And at no point did God promise us that this walk and our time on this earth was going to be easy, but it's worth something. It has a meaning directly related to Him and His glory and the goodness that He is in our lives. So yeah, I hope that this encourages you. I'm sorry if this is weird for the people who know me well and you're like, what the heck, I didn't even know they were trying to have a baby. I'm sorry. And yeah, continue to come back and read into this. I'm going to try to be more open and do a little better on my next video. Have a great week, guys.